Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be listening to Bob Dylan's follow-up letter following his Tom Paine acceptance speech. I'm using 11 Labs today. It's kind of like a text-to-speech AI kind of tool, so it might end up being a little bit better than the one I had the other time, which was pretty good, but I'm just looking for something a little bit slicker, a little bit smoother than what we had before. So I heard it say a message and it sounded pretty good. So that's what we're going to be going with. Yeah, let's give this a listen. It's 14 minutes. It's a pretty long letter. Let's hear it.
A message from Bob Dylan to anybody it may concern. Clark, Mary, Philip, Edith, Mr. Lamont, countless faces I do not know, and all fighters for good things that I cannot see. When I speak of bald heads, I mean bald minds. When I speak of the seashore, I mean the rest and shore. I don't know why I mentioned either of them. My life runs in a series of moods.
Wait, what? When I speak of bald heads, I mean bald minds. Why are you backtracking? You did very, very certainly speak of bald head, man.
When I speak of bald heads, I mean bald minds. When I speak of the seashore, I mean the rest and shore. I don't know why I mentioned either. My life runs in a series of moods, in private and in personal ways. Sometimes I, myself, can change the mood I'm in, the mood I'd like to be in. When I walked through the doors of the Americana Hotel, I needed to change my mood, for reasons inside myself. I am a restless soul, hungry, perhaps wretched. It is hard to hear someone you don't know say, "This is what he meant to say about something you just said." For no one can say what I meant to say, absolutely no one. Times I even can't. That was one of those times.
Well, that's funny because I just
My life is lived out daily.
hello, pause. Because I just said like you very well said that all you're seeing is a bunch of bald-headed people with hair on it, but he's saying nobody can say what he meant to say. See, you guys can't say what I meant to say. Maybe I meant to say that I agreed with him. But it's funny. What he's saying here is quite funny. He has such a way of expressing himself. He can change his mood. Like, what a message. Like his it's strange. I'm gonna go back just a little bit because I'm a restless soul.
In private and in personal ways.
Okay.
Sometimes I, myself, can change the mood I'm in, the mood I'd like to be in.
Hmm.
When I walked through the doors of the Americana Hotel, I needed to change my mood, for reasons inside myself.
Okay.
I am a restless soul, hungry, perhaps wretched. It is hard to hear someone you don't know say, "This is what he meant to say," something you just said. For no one can say what I meant to say, absolutely no one. At times, I even can't. That was one of those times. My life is lived out daily in the places I feel most comfortable in. These places are places where I am unknown and unstared at. I perform rarely, and when I do, there's a constant commotion burning at my body and at my mind because of the attention aimed at me. Instincts fight my emotions and fears fight my instincts. I do not claim to be smart by the standards set up. I don't even claim to be normal by the standards set up. And I do not claim to know.
What is going on in the mind of Bob Dylan? I'm just pausing to let you know that I have a cup of some tea, like a mason jar of tea, and also to let you know that I'm going back a little bit, and also to let you know that I probably may not interrupt this for the first couple minutes or so, because I think I need to try to like grasp what he's saying before I interrupt him as much as I'm doing. Like I need to read the letter, because if I had read the letter, I wouldn't be able to like I couldn't cut him off. If you know what I'm saying, I'd have to read the letter and mumble to myself. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen and mumble over it.
Perhaps wretched. It is hard to hear someone you don't know say, "This is what he meant to say about something you just said." For no one can say what I meant to say, absolutely no one. At times, I even can't. That was one of
It's
those
fair.
times. My life is lived out daily in the places I feel most comfortable in. These
Interesting.
places are places where I am unknown and unstared at. I perform rarely, and when I do, there's a constant commotion burning at my body and at my mind because of the attention aimed at me.
Interesting.
Instincts fight my emotions and fears fight my instincts. I do not claim to be smart by the standards set up. I don't even claim to be normal by the standards set up.
Okay.
And I do not claim to know any kind of truth. But like an artist who puts his painting, after he's painted it, in front of thousands of unknown eyes, I also put my song there that way, after I've made it.
Hmm.
It is as easy and as simple as that. I cannot speak, I cannot talk, I can only write. And I can only sing. Perhaps I should have sung a song. That wouldn't have been right either, for I was given an award not to sing, but rather on what I have sung.
Mm.
No, what I should have said was, "Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen." Yes, that is what I should have said. But unfortunately, I didn't. And I didn't because I did not know. I thought something else was expected of me other than just saying thank you.
Mm.
And I did not know what it was. It is a fierce, heavy feeling. Thinking something is expected of you, but you don't know what exactly it is.
Mm.
It brings forth a weird form of guilt. I should have remembered. I am Bob Dylan, and I don't have to speak, I don't have to say nothing if I don't wanna. But I didn't remember. I constantly asked myself while eating supper, what should I say? What should I tell him? Everybody else is going to tell him something. But I could not answer myself.
Mm.
I even asked someone who was sitting next me, and he couldn't tell me neither. My mind blew up, and needless to say, I had to get it back in its rightful shape, whatever that might be. And so I escaped from the big room, only to hear my name being shouted in the words, "Get in here," overlapping with the finding of my hand being pulled across hundreds of tables with the lights turned on strong, guiding me back to where I tried to escape from.
Mm.
What should I say? What should I say? Over and over again. Oh, God, I'd have given anything not to be there. Shut the lights off, at least. People were coughing and my head was pounding, and the sounds of mumble-jumble sank deep in my skull from all sides of the room until I tore everything loose from my mind and said, "Just be honest, Dylan. Just be honest." And so I found myself in front of the plank, like I found myself once in the path of a car, and I jumped with all my bloody might, just trying to get out of the way. But first screaming one last song. When I spoke of Lee Oswald, I was speaking of the times I was not speaking of his deed if it was his deed. The deed speaks for itself. But I am sick. So sick. At herein we all share the blame for every church bombing, gun battle, mine disaster, poverty explosion, and president killing that comes about. It is so easy to say we and bow our heads together. I must say I alone and bow my head alone, for it is I alone who is living my life. I have beloved companions,
Wow.
but they do not eat nor sleep for me. And even they must say I. Yes, if there's violence in the times then, there must be violence in me. I am
Interesting.
not a perfect mute.
Wow.
I hear the thunder and I can't avoid hearing it. Once this is straight between us, it's then and only then that we can say we and really mean it, and go on from there, do something about it. When I spoke of Negro,
So I want to pause here to just add a few comments to what he said so far. And I think that's the right way to do it. I definitely can't interrupt him as like, because he's clearly, it's almost like he's freestyling as he's writing this letter and developing ideas as he goes along. So cutting him off before he's had a chance to develop his ideas isn't right. But so far, like 4 minutes in, I think what I'm getting is a lot of like, it's interesting. Like he levies a lot of like ideas at the audience, at at his intended audience. Like he says things like, maybe I shouldn't have said anything, maybe I should have remembered who I am, that I'm Bob Dylan. He should have probably written books or something. He'd have like, I don't know if he's written any books or if he's written any like poetries that haven't been like turned into songs or anything like that. But I would love to read a book written by Bob Dylan, or a screenplay or something. His writing is just impeccable. His writing is impeccable. Even this, where it's like he's just letting his ideas fly. It's so interesting to see all these things coming out of him. I feel like, yeah, so like even here he's saying like when he went on the stage, he was like, I have to tell them something because everybody else is telling them something. Something that I feel like a lot of people tend to feel like, what am I going to say? How am I going to, impress them or whatever? But like, honestly, like, it's clear to me that he was being true to himself as he is being true to himself in this letter. He could have just said, I'm sorry, but he's choosing not to say that. Instead, it's 14 minutes long or something, according to this screen reader, which is doing an amazing job, by the way. So it's interesting that he's saying I shouldn't have said anything, yet he goes on to say so much, and a lot of things that ought to be said. So I don't know, but let's keep on going. I'm really enjoying listening to this.
I hear the thunder and I can't avoid hearing it. Once this is straight between us, it's then and only then that we can say we and really.
Yeah, that by the way is an excellent point. Saying I'm responsible. It is me, not we, because we is like, even though it seems like we are sharing the blame for something, it's like in the process of like associating or spreading the blame between all of us, we then don't realize our individual contribution to the things that are happening. And so I think it's just very intelligent. He says that I'm not smart and all these things according to these standards, but like, boy, you are probably well beyond any standard, well beyond any standard. Like, we're gonna have to go over this. Oh my gosh, I really have to chop this up, because who wants to sit here with me for like what, an hour or something to talk about this letter? It's just really good. Anyways, let's keep going.
mean it, and go on from there, do something about it. When I spoke of Negroes, I was speaking of my Negro friends from Harlem and Jackson,
Hmm.
Selma and
I could
Birmingham,
tell.
Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and all points east, west, north, south, and wherever else they might happen to be, in rat-filled rooms and dirt land farms, schools, dime stores, factories, halls, and street corners, the ones that don't own ties, but know proudly they don't have to. Not one little bit. They don't have to be like they naturally aim to get what they naturally own no more than anybody else does. It only gets things complicated and leads people into thinking the wrong things. Black skin is black skin. It can't be covered.
Hold on. They don't have to be like they naturally ain't got ain't got what they naturally own no more than anybody else does. Okay. They don't have to try to put on airs, I guess, and act like they have things that they don't have, to please anybody. Okay. Okay.
They don't have to be like they naturally aim to get what they naturally own no more than anybody else does. It only gets things complicated and leads people into thinking the wrong things. Black skin is black skin. It can't be covered by clothes and made to seem acceptable, well-liked and respectable, to teach that or to think that just tends the flames of another monster myth.
Hmm.
It is naked black skin and nothing else. If a Negro has to wear a tie to be a Negro, then I must cut off all ties with who he has to do it for. I do not
Mhm.
know why I wanted to say this that night.
Hmm.
Perhaps it was just one of the many things in my mind, born from the confusion of my times. When I spoke about the people that went to Cuba, I was speaking of the free right to travel. I am not afraid to see things. I challenge seeing things. I am insulted at the depths of my soul. When someone I don't know commands that I can't see this and gives me mysterious reasons why I'll get hurt if I do see it, telling me at the same time about goodness and badness in people that again I don't know. I've been told about people all my life, about niggers, kikes, wops, bohunks, spics, chinks, and I've been told how they eat, dress, walk, talk, steal, rob, and kill. But nobody tells me how any of them feels. Nobody tells me how any of them cries, or laughs, or kisses. I'm fed up with most newspapers, radios, TV, and movies and the like to tell me. I want now to see and know for myself. And I accepted that award for all others like me who want to see for themselves and who don't want that God-given right taken away, stolen away, or snuck out from beneath them.
You tell them.
Yes, a travel ban in the South would protect Americans more, I'm sure.
I think more than anything, what I'm getting through this second part that we've heard so far is that Bob Dylan is a critical thinker, and he's demanding the right to be a critical thinker. And while he is explaining a lot of what he's saying, like when I spoke of Negroes, I meant this, and when I spoke of, traveling to Cuba, I meant this, he's just saying, I, and he said maybe it's born from the confusion of my times. You know, yeah, there is a lot of confusion in these times because the things that should be simple aren't simple. Things that should be obvious and clear to people aren't clear. So it's like you have to be explaining things and saying things to people that should be self-explanatory. So of course he's saying things and trying to, like, you know, share his stance on all of this. It's really interesting. Like, I feel like what it just shows me is that he's thinking, he's actually using his brain. And it's a beautiful thing to witness. It truly is. Let's keep on going.
Yes, a travel ban in the South would protect Americans more, I'm sure, than the one to Cuba. But in all honesty, I would want to crash that one too.
Mm.
Do you understand? Do you really understand? I mean, I want to see. I want to see all I can every place there is to see it. My life carries eyes, and they're there for one reason. The reason to see through them. My country is the Minnesota-North Dakota territory. That's where I was born and learned how to walk, and it's where I was raised and went to school. My youth was spent wildly among the snowy hills and sky-blue lakes, willow fields, and abandoned open-pit mines. Contrary to rumors, I am very proud of where I'm from, and also of the many bloodstreams that run in my roots. But I would not be doing what I'm doing today if I hadn't come to New York. I was given my direction from New York. I was fed in New York. I was beaten down by New York, and I was picked up by New York. I was made to keep going on by New York. I'm speaking now of the people I've met who were struggling for their lives and other people's lives in the 30s and 40s and the 50s. And I look to their times. I reach out to their times. And in a sense, I'm jealous of their times. And think I have no use for old people is a betraying thought. Those that know me know otherwise.
Yeah.
Those that don't probably are baffled. Like a friend of mine, Jack Elliott, who says he was reborn in Oklahoma. I say I was reborn in New York.
Wait a second. I feel like he's jumped to different ideas here. So he talks about the travel ban up there, and then he says he has a right to see things through his eyes. And he's also saying here that, like, you know, I'm proud of where I've come from, and where I've come from, I've seen all these different things. And I'm proud of, like, or I'm glad to have come to New York because it's added so much context to my life. It's kind of shaped who I am. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for New York. But then he says he also met people here. Okay, so it kind of like supports his idea of, like, he's needing to see things. Like, he saw things in New York and got to witness all these. Okay, I get it. Also, I feel like here about having no use for old people. Um, you know, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm just glad that he's like clarifying a lot of the things, and you know how he truly feels, because that definitely adds layers and depth to his speech. And I can see people wanting to write him off and say, "Oh, you're this way or that way," simply because of what he said in the speech. So this is nice. It's nice to hear more.
And think I have no use for old people is a betraying thought. Those that know me know otherwise. Those that don't probably are baffled. Like a friend of mine, Jack Elliott, who says he was reborn in Oklahoma. I say I was reborn in New York. There is no age limit stuck on it. And no one is more conscious of it than I. Yes, it is a fierce feeling, knowing something you don't know about's expected of you. But it's worse if you blindly try to follow with exploding words, for that's all they can do is explode. And the exploding words are misunderstood. I've heard I was misunderstood. I do not apologize for myself, nor my fears. I do not apologize for any statement which led some to believe, oh my God, I think he's the one that really shot the president. I am a writer and a singer of the words I write. I am no speaker nor any politician. And my songs speak for me because I write them in the confinement of my own mind and have to cope with no one except my own self. I don't have to face anyone with them until long after they're done. No, I do not apologize for being me nor any part of me. But I can return what is rightfully yours at any.
Hold on. I want to go back a little bit.
I do not apologize for myself nor my fears. I do not apologize for any statement which led some to believe, oh my God, I think he's the one that really shot the president.
Yeah.
I am a writer and a singer of the words I write. I am no speaker nor any politician. And my songs speak for me because I write them in the confinement of my own mind and have to cope with no one except my own self. I don't have to face anyone with them until long after they're done. No, I do not apologize for being me nor any part of me, but I can return what is rightfully yours at any given time. I have stared at it for a long while now. It is a beautiful award. There is a kindness to Mr. Paine's face, and there is almost a sadness in his smile. His trials show through his eyes. I know really not much about him, but somehow I would like to sing for him. There is a gentleness 'tis way. Yes, through all my flounder and wildness I am, when it comes down to it, very proud that you have given this to me. I would hang it high and let my friends see in it what I see, but I also would give it back if you wish. There is no sense in keeping it if you've made a mistake in giving it, for it means more'n any store-bought thing, and it'd only be cheatin' to keep it. Also, I did not know that the dinner was a donation dinner. I did not know you were going to ask anyone for money, and I understand you lost money on the masterful way I expressed myself. Then I am in debt. Duh, you not a money debt, but rather a moral debt. If you'd have sold me something, then it'd be a money debt. But you sold nothing, so it is a moral debt. And moral debts are worse than money debts, for they have to be paid back in whatever is missing, and in this case, it's money. Please send me my bills, and I shall pay it, no matter what the sum.
Oh,
I have a hatred of debts, and
just, he just went like that.
want to be even in the best way I can.
Oh
You
boy.
needn't think about this, for money means very little to me. So then, I'll return once again to the road. I can tell you why other people write, but I write in order to keep from going insane. My head, I expected, turn inside out if my hands would leave me. But I hardly ever talk about why I write, and I scarcely ever think about it. The thought of it is too alarming. And I never ever talk about why I speak, but that's because I never do it. This is the first time I am talking about it, and I pray the last. The thought of doing it again is too scary.
Huh.
It's a scary world. But only once in a while, huh? I love you all up there and the ones I don't love. It's only because I do not know them and have not seen them. God, it's so hard hating. It's so tiresome. And after hating something to death, it's never worth the bother and trouble. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but an open window, and I must jump back through it now. See ya. Respectfully and unrespectfully. Signed, Bob Dylan.
Oh my God. Wow. All right. Um, okay. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. This was quite the letter, follow-up letter. This was an explanation, not necessarily an apology, but kind of. He signed it respectfully and unrespectfully. I also find it interesting how he what would you say now? He keeps his accent in his writing. He says, he says things like ain't and like it's interesting. I can't remember or reference the exact points, but you can see that he's writing in the way that he speaks. I find this here part to be so interesting where he says he hopes this is the last time he's writing about speaking. I can't tell you what other people write, but I write in order to keep from going insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh boy. That's so interesting. Hmm. I wonder how he feels about his existence, and if that's something that scares him too. I wonder how much he thinks about the actual instance of himself known as Bob Dylan, because that sounds like an incredible amount of awareness. Beyond just like, oh, he's a smart, thinking person. He actually sounds like he's truly, truly very aware of himself. And I've experienced that before, so I know how scary that can be. But it sounds like he almost describes it as if it's a constant, and so he needs to put pen to paper in order to not get so wrapped up in his thinking. At least that's how that feels to me. I don't know. And then he says he doesn't want to speak because it's too scary. Because of your exploding words, perhaps? He says, on the masterful way. Did he really say masterful? This was so funny that he started and saying, I don't owe you money. It's a moral debt, so I owe you money. That's funny. Uh Also him talking about the statue, the award and the face on the award is also interesting. Like I don't really understand how his mind works. I feel like one of the things that I do gather from this is that he thinks. Like he actually takes the time to look at things and think about it and marvel at it. And he'll think and marvel at pretty much everything. Everything. And perhaps this is this attention to detail and this curiosity about every single thing that he basically comes in contact with that makes him a good writer, because there's nothing that's not worth thinking about or worth considering. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, he shared a lot of things in this letter that I thought was very interesting. I mean, even what he said about people of color and them not needing to try, they shouldn't need to try to do anything or be anyone for anyone to accept them. But also saying, you know, if they feel like they need to wear ties to be themselves, then I will then cut the ties from the people who are making them feel that way. Interesting. It's just he has such an interesting way of expressing himself, and to do it here, and this is the thing that I find surprising. I said it earlier in Last Thoughts and Woody, but it's just kind of surprising that he has so many ideas and so many things to say. And I'm really curious about where this is all coming from. Like, I guess that's just how his mind works. To anybody it may concern. Who even got this letter? Was it ever mailed out? What was the response? I have so many questions. This was great, by the way. This here, the way he entered this was so interesting because it was so visual to me. I saw him leaving, I saw them calling him back, I saw them like pulling him, though it probably didn't happen that way, but like for him, it felt like he was being pulled into it, like he was grabbing onto the tablecloths and all of that. That's just it's interesting. I liked it. That's amazing. He also spoke of like this thing where he said, I felt like I could be him. Amazing. Well, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed learning or, listening to it with you. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't tell me why I painted this one finger green. It's because I couldn't commit. I couldn't commit to doing my whole hand. So I wanted to test one finger, and then like I just couldn't go through with it because I wasn't sure how it looked. Yeah. Sorry about that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was another great peek into the mind of Bob Dylan, which, it's an interesting, fantastical place. That's all I will say. We have a lot more things to discover and watch regarding Bob Dylan. So, I hope you are enjoying the ride. A lot of great things coming up. Bringing it all back home is coming up. But before we do that, we have a few different things to look at and look through. So yeah, let me know what you thought about the reaction, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Peace.